Welcome to another Airbrush Asylum video. This is part 3, the final part of the Ute pickup truck tutorial. Let's get into it. So I am using some spray mask. This is actually a Metamark vinyl. I usually use Hexus grey spray mask. That's the one I would recommend. This one's okay. Someone recommended I try it, gave it a go. It does cut really well and give you a nice sharp edge. The only thing I find that's a drawback with this particular vinyl is that if you do not take it off and leave it overnight, it will leave glue. So if you are going to use this stuff, that's fine, but make sure you take it off once you are finished with your artwork. So just pre-plan it, don't leave it overnight. Whereas the Hexus spray mask you can leave overnight, you can leave it even for a week. I've done that before and it's completely fine. Where do you get them from? Your local sign supply shop should have it. If not, just jump on, say, the Hexus website and check out your local closest distributor. So I am just cutting out, I've made a positive template, so in part 2 I finished off the Ute. So added all the rust, did all the highlights, and now I'm masking over the top of it. Now, before I put this masking on, I sprayed it with the Intercoat Clear. I use the House of Colour SG100, and this just protects my water-based painting. Obviously, I've done this all with Trident airbrush paint. So yes, it does stick very well, and you don't necessarily have to do that step, but personally I prefer to do it just to safeguard myself. Once you put that Intercoat Clear on, it just seals everything in. You can still work over the top of it, but it's just going to stop any lift off. Now obviously when you are cutting on this surface, this is someone's Harley that I'm working on, you need to be extremely careful. You need to use a sharp blade, like a brand new blade in your X-Acto knife or your hobby knife, whatever that may be, and just only the pressure of the knife. You know, I'm not pressing down at all. You do not want to cut through the clear coat because you could have all sorts of issues, and obviously I don't want to damage the underlying factory color, which is this really nice candy red. So keep that in mind. Now that the Ute is masked off, I'm using Peach Flesh by Trident. If you can't get something similar, just mix it up. Probably use flesh tone, add a little bit of orange, will give you the same sort of colour. And I'm starting to put in some of that Australian Outback backdrop that we're going for here. So this artwork is all part of the Eagle trike that I did. So this is, all these murals are on this one project. So you've probably watched some of the other ones previously. If not, I'll put some links up top here somewhere now, and you can click and check those out. So it's got that whole Australiana theme, hence the old rusty Ute, and on the other side there was a rusty vehicle, which is also already a tutorial on this channel, so be sure to check them out. Might be easiest to jump into our playlist section and you'll find all the Eagle ones and the other car one there. So you can see I'm spraying unevenly and just building up my texturing, just using this one tone at the moment. So even though I'm using one color, I'm still building it. The airbrush that I'm using at the moment is the Iwata HP-A. Unfortunately, this got discontinued late last year, but you may be able to jump online and find one either on eBay, Amazon, so check them out. For all of the other products that you used within this video, I'll pop some links in the description below, so be sure to check that out. So now that I've got my base done for the ground, I'm switching to a light blue, so this is just white mixed with blue and a bit of reducer, and just spraying in the sky. The airbrush that I'm using at the moment is the HPCS Eclipse, also an Iwata. You see a bit of that's just spluttered out on me, a bit of tip drying, but that won't matter, that'll disappear. And I got a bit of overspray, you can see on the side there, and I'm wiping that off with water-based degreaser, also a House of Colour product. You can use any particular product. Now because it's water-based paint, it wipes off nice and easily. However, you can see I am getting a sharp edge where I'm wiping. Never fear, I will fix that later. I'm going to show you how to do that. So just be careful whenever you are water wiping anything, because sometimes wiping off a bit of overspray can then lead to a sharp edge, and that could be problematic depending on what sort of artwork you're doing. So now with a bit of white, and I'm using a paper towel, I've just torn it in a funny shape. I'm starting to create some clouds in the background. So they don't need to be overly detailed because they're designed to be a fair way in the background. I want that illusion of depth. So I'm just using the paper towel to create some of those sharp edges, and then dusting further away to get softer edges, and also allowing some of that blue to show through. So I do apologise that you're only seeing the lower part of these clouds, but I forgot to adjust the camera, but keep in mind it's the same process. So you'll see the finished result at the end of this video, so be sure to check that out. Now switching to sepia, I'm going to start to further detail the tree as well as some of the outback, the ground area and the shrubs. So you can see up nice and close to get those nice sharp edges. Hopefully you can make out enough of it on this angle. It's kind of tricky to film. Then coming back in with my peach flesh, I'm going to fix some of those sharp edges that were created from the water wiping. So you can see how spraying that peach flesh over the top is going to eliminate it. So if that ever happens, you can use a opaque colour to eliminate those sharp edges, and then you have to just re-render again to blend it all back in. Same thing with the light blue, that's just spraying that on the edge there and in between some of the clouds, and that's making that sharp edge disappear. So back onto sepia and further detailing. So just picking some of those drop shadows and just adding more and more detail and texturing to the ground. So if this is the first time watching one of our videos, then welcome. For all of our regular viewers, welcome back. I do hope that you're enjoying this so far. If you are getting some value out of it, feel free to hit the like button, share it out, and let's build the airbrushing community together. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing, and be sure to tap on that bell icon, and that'll notify you every time I put out new content. Now switching to a transparent orange, and I'm going to start to add that over our peach flesh. So you can see I can easily spray that over the sepia areas as well, and because it is heavily transparent, it's not going to eliminate it, but it's got enough colour there to tint the ground, which is exactly what I want. I'm using a moss green. This one is by Createx Illustration Colors, and I'm rendering that tree. So a few little dots there, as well as some further shading. So up nice and close and further away to get the illusion of the leaves. You also notice I'm using that for the shrubs in the distance, so nice and soft for those. By doing them blurry and not as detailed and keeping your foreground more detailed, you're going to get that instant 3D effect. and the sensor depth, especially as well when I remove the positive mask. The ute is really going to pop out. So switching to transparent black, I'm going to start to do all the final detailing. So this is going to further sharpen up all of the artwork that I've just completed. So just texturing the shrub there and, you know, detailing some of those shadows. You can see how some of that oversprays from the peach flesh has affected our shading. So I'm coming in now and cleaning all that up. Now switching back to white, I want to add some bright white highlights. I'm not going to go overboard with this colour, I just want to really pick out some of those highlighted bits and pieces, and sort of by doing that I'm suggesting that there's a lot of detail in the ground, but I'm only hitting some of those little key areas. So you can see, even though I haven't gone and detailed every single stone and boulder and bit of you know, tree branch, I've just suggested little white highlights, and that's made all the difference. So now using my transparent black, I'm working on the edges now of the artwork and just bringing some of those lighter areas where the overspray is traveling into the red of the Harley base color, and I'm just blending them in. So now removing my positive mask, you can see how much that's popped the design. And I'm now coming in freehand, and I'm just going to fix up some of the shading and just sort of bring the design together with the background, foreground that I just completed. And here we have the completed mural. You can see how the clouds really taper off. So all the detailing, you can see some of those white highlights that I was talking about, those suggestive ones. So you don't need a lot to create a lot of sort of texturing. Better look at the tree and the clouds. And then, because this is part of the whole eagle trike theme with the wedge-tailed eagles, I've got some of the feathers. So they travel up along the top of the trike body with a little bit of that smoke flame, just to tie it all in, so that runs right through the design. And this is all shown before clear. I have put an intercoat clear over everything to protect it. But once that 2-pack glossy clear goes on, it's going to change it totally. It's going to really make it pop. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Check out some of the other videos and playlists that I got listed here. Until next time, go grab your airbrush, do some amazing artwork yourself, and I'll see you again very, very soon in the next video. Bye for now.